exterior de España.
English language service.
Greetings from Madrid and welcome to the English language broadcast of Spanish National Radio. Here we bring Spain to you through our shortwave broadcasts. Amy Egan speaking, alongside my colleague Marilyn Quintana. What are we doing today, Marilyn?
Today's broadcast coincides with World Book Day, which is also the anniversary of Miguel de Cervantes' death. So today we have a literary broadcast set on the streets Miguel de Cervantes once lived in.
That's right. El Barrio de las Letras is Madrid's literary district, full of history and paved with words of great Spanish authors, literally. Felicity Hughes, writer for the new Lonely Planet Madrid tour guides, has just written a book all about the neighborhood, explaining its history and its authors. She'll be joining us along with David Price, English bookshop owner in the Barrio.
For today's broadcast, we have help from sound technician Javier Lopez and production help from Cristina Dorado.
Before we get into the rest of the broadcast, the news from Spain. On Sunday, regional elections in the Basque country finished with a tie between separatist parties EH Bildu and the Basque Nationalist Party. The distance between the two is only of 28,000 votes, with the Basque Nationalist Party taking the lead, but both parties tied with 27 seats.
The Basque Nationalist Party currently governs the region in coalition with the Basque Socialist, and after the results of these elections, the coalition is expected to continue for the next 4 years. Imanol Pradales, leader of the Basque Nationalist Party, celebrated the results.
Han confiado de manera mayoritaria en nuestro proyecto. Con humildad, con trabajo, daré todo por Euskadi.
The majority trusted in our project. With humility, with work, I'll give everything for the Basque country, he said.
The Basque Nationalist Party lost 4 seats compared to the previous elections, but they will be able to reach a majority in coalition with the Socialists with 12 seats. EH Bildu got 6 more seats than the last elections, a historic result for the leftist separatists.
So this is Radio Exterior, or Spanish National Radio. Great signal with their summer frequency of 17,855 kHz. Pretty much one of the only stations there. There was just before the top of the hour, 17,600, which I believe was Algeria. And right now what's left is another signal on 17,715, from what I see, which is, if I look at EIBI schedules, let me check that out. At this time, 17,715 would be Spain also. So this would be another frequency from Spain. Let's check it out here.
Tourists visited the islands, which have a population of around 2 million people. In the last 10 years, 500 hotels have been built in the islands, and selective control of tourist homes has a direct impact in the cost of living.
Yeah, 17,715 is also Spain. This one's directed to South America, so that's why the signal isn't as strong. Still playing around with HD SDR on my Airspy HF Plus Discovery. The antenna used there is an MLA 30 loop and magnetic loop, and so Spain 17,855, making it pretty well to North America at 22 hours universal time.
But who understand that things have to change. We can't continue like this. It's important to rethink and reset.
More protests took place over the weekend in the whole country
por la masacre que está habiendo en Palestina. Es algo terrible.
because of the massacre taking place in Palestine. With time we will realize what it is and what it will be, because it's not over yet. Protests in support of Palestine took place in Madrid, Barcelona, Murcia and Seville. Protests denounced the genocide in Palestine and called for the ends of arms trades between Spain and Israel.
They also remembered the 34,000 Palestinians killed by Israel since the 7th of October and the Palestinian prisoners kept in Israeli prisons.
Se olvida
la situación de 9 a 11.000 prisioneros palestinos que además
We don't forget the situation of 9 to 11,000 Palestinian prisoners that face all types of torture and negligence because many died in prison.
Meanwhile, in the Middle East, Israel continues the offensive in Gaza. Palestinian authorities discovered a mass grave in the Jan Yunus hospital. The NGO Save the Children warned about the consequences of the war, and they assure children are psychologically destroyed. And in the West Bank, Israel devastated the refugee camp in Nur Shams, occupied territory.
Foreign Affairs ministers of the European Union met today to discuss new sanctions to Iran after their attack on Israel. Spain and Ireland insisted on the need to recognize Palestine as a state and urge Israel to respond before the European Commission for the unacceptable situation in Gaza.
In Mallorca, Spanish King Felipe VI inaugurated the annual Conference of Speakers of European Union Parliaments. In the opening speech, he highlighted the roles of the European Union in the face of growing polarization.
La unión de todos los pueblos europeos en torno a unos valores
The union
compartidos.
of all European countries around shared values is the clear identity sign of Europe that, despite all the difficulties and the frustrations, shows its strength precisely when it faces adversities, he said.
Speakers will discuss current challenges for democracies like the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. The conference will continue until the 23rd of April.
You're listening to the English language service of Spanish National Radio.